What's up, everyone? We're going to practice some with the robot, do some serve practice, things like that. Try out a few different rackets, but mostly play with my main setup. And feel free to skip through and see different things because basically just practice, so it'll be a little bit repetitive or very repetitive, not changing too much, just working on specific things for myself, but here and there I'll give explanations. Feel free to ask questions in the chat if you're watching live, and in the future, if you see something you want to learn about more, feel free to ask a question. I did find the little remote for the Amicus Prime, so that makes some things, or makes it a lot more convenient, but like I said before, I'm using my computer with the robot, and some features are a little bit, I don't know if you want to call it buggy, but something. And so when I start introducing the remote, I don't know, it communicates with the robot, but it doesn't seem to update on the computer as much, but it like half knows what's going on when I use it. So some things, like when I click the mirror function, like I said, if you're doing a drill with just the ball to the right, you click mirror, then the ball will just come to the left, same ball, right, as if it was a mirror. But sometimes it doesn't register right away, or I also noticed that sometimes I would make a change and all of a sudden, instead of being at the frequency I have it set at, which was 70 balls per minute, it would go back to the standard like 40 balls per minute. So it's a trial and error process, just like practicing table tennis, like we always talk about. So mainly just trying to get in, get some footwork in, get some practice. I always say you have to have a few things you're focused on learning. So for me, like I said before, working on the backhand, more stable, more consistent, being able to kind of comfortably play, mostly diagonal, placing in the same spot here, but then when you're playing someone, okay, you're going to try to place it a little bit here, a little bit there. Just because you're playing diagonal doesn't mean you're playing to the same spot. It could be a little deeper on the table, a little shallower, more to the middle, more to the side, all right, and you use that to set up. The thing I'm trying to avoid is playing like one backhand and then getting pushed out here and just automatically kind of bumping it here, because then they have a nice cross-court forehand on me, and I don't want to give them that. Also because since I spend a lot of time playing forehands from here, I have to be very aware of what's going on over here. And then same, if I'm kind of center on the table, it's a little easier for me to play here and cover this side with my forehand, play an extreme angle, or play a strong shot here and protect myself on the backhand, not trying to over pivot, let's say. So I'll get started here in a second. Got the Harimoto Super LC anatomic handle with digging so nicely both sides. These rubbers have been holding it pretty well. I think that's partly because I haven't been practicing so much during the winter, various reasons. So try and wear these out. I have another set to put on sometime, and I also have a couple different rackets or rubbers to try out. So we'll do that, but sometimes you can try out different things, but when things are working out or you're feeling good with your equipment, it doesn't motivate me too much. That's why I've just been sticking with this. I like the setup, and I'm not so concerned about different stuff. So we'll try out the remote some in the beginning, but I think to start, I'm just going to do it normal so we don't get messed up. Let's see what it's supposed to be ball 70 per minute to the forehand side, a very small sector, so just a little variation here. Instead of like one place, it's got like a very small window, and I have the ball set on 12 speed and 2 spins. So it's just a very normal, like warm-up ball. Let's say a drive, nothing crazy. So let's see if it comes out the way we hope it does. So I'm trying to get low, a little forward. Let's play compact. So far, so good, right? It got jammed a little bit there. That's all right, it happens. But goal is like, don't just start wailing away on the ball, staying in one spot, not moving your body. The goal is not so much dealing with this ball. It's not a difficult ball to deal with, but being in position, recovering, playing your shots. Different timing, different swing. I'll have to mess with that in a second. All right. So far, so good. There's always risks doing things. So something got jammed up down here. Let's see. Maybe I need to, I don't know, figure out some maintenance on the robot too. Like I said, it was in storage for a long time. I took it out, cleaned a little things, but I don't know. I'm not sure how well you can really clean these things after a while. But I'll figure it out. Give me a second. I'll dump some. First, let's see if anything's jammed up in here that shouldn't be. Sometimes it's too, like, the balls get dirty over time and then that causes problems, or using different types of balls, obviously. Not ideal. I don't think that amount of balls is going to fix the jamming problem, but hopefully it'll figure itself out here in a second. If not, that'll be a quick practice session. We'll just call it a day. Right. Go back to our regular scheduled Saturday. Let's try it again. I did move the head up and down recently. Maybe it's not liking its current distance. Let's try this. Now it's not going to be perfectly straight either, but let's see. Let's see what's going on down here. I don't know. To my untrained eye, it looks okay. Let's hope, right? Like I said, I don't know. They're robots, right? They're machines. You got to do maintenance. You got to fix them. And this one's kind of worn out at this point. So we'll see. Maybe the balls are causing trouble. Maybe the robot's causing trouble or whatever. So maybe the height of the robot was causing an issue because they have these little red lines that show you like 1 step up, 2 steps up, 3 steps. So maybe that was causing some problem. I don't know. Hopefully it'll work a little better. So let's get into a rhythm. Trying to hit that ball, you can see I missed. So I'm not going to worry about that ball for now, but I like to have, when a ball's on the table, use that as a target for practice. But now I'm going to play more diagonal, just same idea, using the rotation, not being too independent with the upper arm, keeping it equal. Good news is the robot's working again. Alright, so like I said, not hitting it hard, just putting every ball on the table right. I shouldn't be missing because they're a consistent ball, and just working on the different mechanics of my body, staking my balance, and then we'll do some backhand, we'll do different things. You can actually see on this ball, it's light toss movement, but not a ton, so it's actually, when you try and play down the line, you have to find the middle ground between getting enough lift to get it over, but not sending it so far to the shorter distance. So it's a good little warm-up for sure. So right now, just doing 2 and 2 from the same spot. I'm gonna work on this for a bit until I get worn out on the forehand, then we'll switch over. So when I play down there, my goal is not to change my shot completely. I need to open up a little more at the hips, maybe get slightly there. Adjust my body and not overplay it, right? Don't smack so much and also don't like fade it. Just keep playing the shot, but open up a little more here. So I'm trying to play a more compact forehand, a little more off the balance. Now I'm going to do, that was kind of here, now I'm going to do a little more of the forearm snap. Still not using really much wrist at all though. But get my wrist down to start the shot at least. Because this part is what gets you more of that arc and gets a lot of the snap. The ball gets this heavy spin but comes down. If you kind of extend too much get a little more of a hit and a little bit longer trajectory without as much spin, maybe. Enough of the forehand. No break, we'll do some backhand. Like I said, let's see if I click the mirror function, if it'll register or not. And I'm not using the little remote right now because I don't want to mess it up anymore. So yeah, if anyone stops by, feel free to say hi. Let me know what you want to see. Mainly, like I said, goal is warm up, practice some of the different shots that I'm trying to fix a little bit, but not fix too much. All right, just let things happen. And then I'll do some footwork, and then all day. And some serve stuff here and there. So I'm working a lot more on being compact here. But every time I kind of have to remind myself to do it. And I need to step a little more balance on this foot, right? A lot of times I'm stomping on my heel. It needs to be here because then you can use that to propel yourself to the right spot. And serve. Alright, so if I play this shot, that's why I'm saying you have to be careful, because I play this one, then I'm kind of late on the next one, I have a tendency just here. But from here, now they got a lot of open. So kind of play here, maybe to the middle, you set something up, maybe you play out wide, you play another backhand, then to the middle, and then kind of set yourself more balanced. But be careful playing to this corner extreme when you're all the way out here, right? Then you got to make sure you cover your up there. So we'll do some different serves. I do a lot of the short underspin nowadays practice because that at least, you know, either they have to push it, and they might push it short, might push it long, but I can give a good push or an open over the table, or they'll give me a chance to play a spinny open, right? I like that. If they give me a real spinny ball, I can kind of slowly open with a lot of spin. I kind of like that rally. So we'll see. And then same, serve some of the pendulum ones. It's getting better. You can hear the spin on that one. And then I am working on this one some, but I think for now, most of my serves either going to be kind of a hook serve or like, I don't know, semi-shovel, tomahawk type serve. This one, and then some of the underspin. But then also, I'll work on the fast one like that. If you want to see any sort of particular, so a lot of times when I do atomic, I do it from here, but then I have a lot of ground to cover here for these ones. Whereas if you kind of do it from here, a lot of times they'll try to play a safe ball in the middle, but you can either cover it and play out here, or give them a good push back and they have a tough chance. So you gotta practice this one a little more. Keep the tomahawk, you gotta get low, and it's kind of hard on your body to get into position. Like that's too low, right? Or too high, or too long. That one's good. Too long. Alright, so if you hit it from up here, it's gonna drift long. You gotta catch it here and just like barely get it to dribble over for the short one. But if your tomahawk's too short and too high, and not like loaded with underspin also with the side spin, a lot of times people just step in and hit it and they take their chances, which makes sense because otherwise they're not going to get a good shot. So it can't be too short, right? You rather, if they're going to attempt it, like playing real aggressively over the table like it is a short serve, then you want to be able to push them back a little bit, a little more forward momentum, right? So, you know, say they're reading, but this one comes in real short, right? So they just kind of get real aggressive and start hitting it here. Okay, then instead of that, you just serve a little longer, a little more power, but if they're still treating it as a short serve, then the ball's gonna bite into the racket a lot more. And then same idea, if you serve here, like real wide, a lot of times they're gonna do this to deal with the side spin, because that kind of mentally makes sense. You're over here, they're gonna play over there. So just be ready, you play here, okay, you kind of protect yourself here, and if you see that they don't deal with the side spin, then you'll have a good forehand down the line or from here. Same with kind of the backhand serve, depending on how you do it, right? You just kind of create different angles for attacks here. You create a real wide angle there, but then you got to make sure you're kind of covering this ball. But it comes a little slower if it goes with that. Otherwise, just play a little longer there. So all those I was kind of here. I need to get a better backhand serve, something I need to practice more. Because actually, I don't practice that much, but it's an effective serve. So. Problem is I'm serving long, but the first bounce is like here, and it's clipping that. So the first bounce got to be closer to me. That's why you practice, right? I'm not going to serve from over there quite as well. I'll serve a little more here. Now I'm kind of long into the middle. So one thing I've been figuring out too, like you serve that right side spin long to the middle and kind of catch them off guard. They kind of move like this. It's naturally going to come over here. So a lot of times I do that and then I'm kind of set up over here, but the ball just kind of drifts there. So you got to stay kind of centered. You're ready to attack it. And then if you do serve like way out there, then their backhand covers is going to come here a little more. And you can be ready here or here. All right. Same with you serve over there. They're going to either attack and become real fast and strong here, or they're going to have to kind of play it a little bit smarter, short side of the table, but they'll deal with your spin. So just kind of think what you're doing, right? Same if you serve the pendulum, that was to the middle, but I meant to go out wide. You got to be prepared a little more over here. But if they do cover over here, okay, it's kind of a straight ball. You can kind of play at it. And then if you serve this one, you serve the pendulum to the forehand, their angle automatically gives them a chance to kind of play out here. So you have to be careful because they're dealing with your side spin and they can play a strong shot. So that's kind of one of those examples where they're taking a risk by playing here because of the side spin. So maybe you do a longer one that jumps into them like that. Then they're lucky you can get on the table or it's kind of here and you can be ready here or here, right? But I do see if you go out here, even though the side spin, the way that a lot of people's backhand topspin goes, it comes here, you have to be ready for that. So that's some of the serve stuff. We'll do some backhand stuff. And let me know what you want to see. So I need to keep working on a little more wrist acceleration for my serves. So it's a little too high still, but I'm just kind of making sure that I get a good spinny on this ball this short. Yeah. And then as it gets better, we'll see. All right, so let's see if this worked. I should have a backhand ball now. So like I said, this is what I'm going to work on the most with the robot. Just kind of pretty easy for now. So for me, I have to make sure I'm not sitting in this right hip just playing backhands out here because then there's no power. I'm actually going to over-exaggerate a little more, play on this one. So same idea. After the serve, it's important that I don't just sit here like this because then I'm only over here. I got to get back. So you can see some players just over the top like this, other people kind of hitting it a little more. Find your spot. It's a little more consistent if you're just spinning, but also a little less power, let's say. I'm going to stick with what I've been practicing. Keep it over there. My goal, compact, but I'm going to try to start a little closer to my body, get my wrist a little lower, more relaxed to start, and then I won't have to come through quite as far. So kind of starting a little closer, but also finishing not quite as far. And I don't have to really extend all the way out here. Just kind of... Right, so back to my films. And kind of the more acceleration I get from here, the better it'll be, but then I can have to start aiming more directly, otherwise start lifting the ball up. So you kind of get more speed, but also play a little more closed through the ball, forward, not up. And then what happens if you play too much up, too close, then they serve on the net unless you play a fast shot every time, which is not easy. So then you got to kind of open up through the ball. It's kind of an adjustment process, so we'll figure it out. So sometimes you can just go hard and keep missing, but whenever I start missing for the time being, since I'm working on consistency, I need to back down and figure out what's going wrong. A little shorter stroke a little better feel in the hand, not so hard and not kind of all over the place. Just kind of off the bounce, flat. So you can see a lot of times from here, when you try to pull it from here to there, ends up going long, kind of pointless. I still got to get out here. I'm going to turn the fan on for now. Let's see if that's an issue. It's hot here. Try to get a little closer. So I think it's important to practice different timings. You see, when I get closer, I'm borrowing the power. Automatically, the ball's shooting a little easier off my racket. Just kind of got to guide it a little more, which is good. But in a match, you got to get in position to play that or have good anticipation. So you need both shots all the time. So that last time I tried to go a little more snap. Let's take a break for a second, and then what I'm going to do is I'll make the balls move in a little different places, and I'll do two of them, one a little shorter, one a little longer, and that should be sufficient variation. But mostly just playing backhand for the time being. That's my goal, like I said. I put the towel here, like I said, to avoid the middle forehand. For now. Not always, but. Right, I think it's not like the person's always in the same spot, mostly, so you can't just say, oh, that spot means this or that. It just depends where they are. But I'm saying I just don't want to automatically play there without thinking. Anyone watching? No. It's okay. That is okay. Alright, so let's make the sector a little bigger. Let's see if that works. But that'll be the first change I make. But I don't want it. I'm not in the mood to play forehands at the moment, so let's see what this looks like. Let's see. Okay, so now it's a little random to the backhand. That's it. So my goal is not to get turned like this on these outside balls unless I have to. Then I really got to spin it to play a little on the outside of the ball to get that arc. Otherwise, trying to keep at least level shoulders or slightly in the same position as I would be for forehands. And I'm trying to keep my left leg a little more forward engaged, like I said. Keep my elbow stable. So you start increasing the power, start missing. So what I gotta do, I gotta stop. Gotta play more consistent. Stop missing. More over the top, less from down here, more here. So you can see those top spin ones, you keep doing that, they just keep going off. So you gotta figure it out, or I gotta figure it out. So it takes a long time, kind of like I'm saying. I'm trying not to let my arm move all over the place, not trying to fall this way, just kind of more compact, playing a little closer where the ball's here, but in my triangle. You can see, like I said, I don't even have the settings turned up super high in any direction, so you gotta just focus on putting the ball on the table, more consistency. And then you can crank up the spin to practice certain things, but really, it's already enough. Better. A few more rounds and I'll So, I mean, of course, like I said, I could be playing some backhands and pivoting, right? And I'll do that sometimes, but right now that's not my goal. My goal is actually the opposite, to avoid pivoting without a good reason, right? So now if I'm going to pivot, it needs to be for a good reason. Otherwise, it's really easy to get me jammed up, get me crossed up. Someone who's a good backhand, especially diagonal backhand. So let me pick up some balls. So, I mean, you always want to keep enough balls in the robot so it doesn't, like, get too sparse in there. But in theory, you should be able to let it cycle through the balls pretty good. Otherwise, what's the point of holding all those balls if you have to refill it every, like, few minutes? So, as long as things are kept clean in there, the balls are in good condition, it works pretty well. You saw in the beginning, I had to adjust it a little bit. But this robot's already 6 or 7 years old. And at various times I've used it a good amount, and then I stopped using it for a while. I don't think you always have to be using the robot, especially if you're playing at your club more often, but then certain times it makes sense, kind of certain stages of the development process, or when you have specific things you want to work on, like I said with this backhand stuff, or changing your form a little bit, so you can get a nice consistent ball where you need it, either the same one every time or a little random here and there, but still similar parameters, let's say. So what's up, 2 viewers? Feel free to say hi. Let me know you're watching from. Just doing some basic robot practice, then we'll do some serve practice, things like that. But mainly my goal, like I said, getting this backhand consistent. So I think I saw something on Instagram from Robert Gardo's TT Pro Net. He was talking about how many days in a row with how many balls he'd have to practice to get 10,000 repetitions of something. So if you think about it, it just takes a lot of time. So if you're diligent every day, it'll add up, right? But if you, this month you do it 4 hours in a row, okay, but then you don't do it for a few weeks, then 4 hours in a row, it would be better just do 30 minutes, 4 days a week, let's say. Yeah, that would work out math-wise and consistency-wise. Don't check me. Just kidding. You can check. So, it's good to practice some serves in between. Wasn't necessarily a good serve, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing here, and then a few more rounds, but now I'm going to add a second ball, one a little shorter, one a little longer, just to give a little variation of depth, because, okay, we practice side-to-side movement a lot, but you need to be able to practice in and out movement and not just returning a serve and then into the rally, right? Because sometimes you're back here, then they play a soft ball or a wide ball. So you need to be able to move in and out, but without losing kind of the sense of the rally you're working on. So let's see what I can do with that. I click this ball. I think I go clone ball. Oh, it crashed. So, yeah, there's some things, I think I had that happen to me before, I'll fix that. So, cloning a ball doesn't work on this one, but if I press the plus button, it works. Okay, so right click clone is no good, but that one is all right. So let me see if I can go, I'll go a little faster on this next one. Let's just try that. One ball is going to be 12, one ball is going to be 13. Actually, I'll make the other one 11. Let's see. Sorry, let's get it figured out. Let's try it. The long one's going to go off sometime, so we'll figure that out. I'll fix that. Alright, so that's good. So now it's making me move in and out, and I also still have that sector stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the 13, 12, I'm going to increase the spin on that one, and then the 11, I'm actually going to make it a little slower. All right, let's try that. Let's see what this does. I need to come in. I need to go back. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for. That was tough. So the one that's shorter has a little less spin, a little less speed, of course, and the longer one has a little more spin, a little more speed. And they're both sometimes here, sometimes there. So it's making me move in and out with little adjustment. And this is where that towel comes into play. Because say I move in for this lighter one, the next one jumps on me quicker. I don't want to get stuck being late and just playing it down the line because I get rushed. So I'm trying to keep the pressure on them, even if they change the ball up on me. Just kind of stay consistent. So that was good. You can see sometimes on the short one I'm having to reach. So I reach and I play my shot and I'm like this. When really I need to get here and still stay here, still stay here. So that's good. You could do two balls, too short, too long or something to make it a little easier. But. So I started to wait on the short one a little more, let it come to me, which made that easier. But then I was kind of a little planted, a little stationary for the long one, and that was worse. So let's see if I can wait a little bit, but then the next one play a little more on the top. I can feel it. Sometimes this ball's here, in my mind it's like, man, just bump in here, it's easier, you know, but I don't want to play with them because you bump that one here and you're kind of over-committed, and they're getting me. Not always, but if they're over there, it's fine, but if they're here in the middle center, it's a problem. So you can see, anytime I overextend for that short ball, like real aggressive in this, I'm like chasing the next ball, and I'm too late and I'm missing. So I've got to get a little more balanced with my timing. Just short, both of them. Let's try. It was okay for a bit, then it kind of fell apart. That's how it is. And every once in a while I'll play down the line maybe, right? So my goal is just avoiding the automatic down the line bump. I say it a million times, but I have to remind myself that too. So here, you're comfortable, you're placing, then you say, oh, they're a little bit exposed, and they go like this, then play them down the line. Make sure it's a good one. So that one, I played more on the outside of the ball, which helps you do it with the topspin a lot more, helps you put a lot more angles. So you have to do that sometimes too. Then you can even still play it on the line, but still outside, a little more like one of these, like they do out here. Just different ways to hit the ball. So you want to hit your standard shot, I think. So you can see, as soon as I start hitting a little harder, I make mistakes either because I'm too open to hitting, you know, or kind of zipping along too long and lifting a little too much. So you got to find the middle ground. A little more. You see, a few of those I started playing too far away from myself, and it cost me. And you might be thinking, okay, why am I so worried about playing diagonal if I want to set up forehands? But it's actually because I kind of want to jam them up there. And then I like playing the forehand from here down the line, but when there's space. So, because if you do it too automatically, all you have to do is play a good backhand topspin to your middle and you're already stuck. And then if this isn't strong, you're in trouble. Same with if you play this one real strong here, then they automatically just give you an easy block over here and you're not ready. It's very tough too for me. So, that was good. We'll save that. We'll do a little more footwork now. Okay. We did all that backhand. I'll do a little forehand and backhand mix. First we'll do, let's see. I'm going to do 3 points. I'm going to go backhand, backhand, forehand, forehand. So like when I go this way, I'm playing 2 backhands. When I come back this way, I'm playing 2 forehands. Let's see. Oh, actually no, because it doesn't go like that. We'll see. Don't worry about it. That was okay. 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a little faster. I'm going to get the towel out of the way. Well, I'm not going to get the towel out of the way. I'm putting it in the middle. So my goal is mostly playing cross, but the middle ball I can decide, right? So right now I'm going to play mostly forehand cross from here, mostly backhand cross from here. And then this ball I can decide, right, whether I'm playing forehand, backhand, I can decide which way I want to play. Sometimes I'll play just backhand here, forehand here from the middle. Other times I'll play just forehand, forehand, or backhand, backhand, or I can play backhand that way too, because like Francisco or something, that's a good wide angle backhand. It works pretty well if you can make it, you know, aggressive, right? If it's weak, then you're in trouble, because now you play a backhand from here to their forehand, and they might just get you real strong there. Came off it like this too much in that launch. Sometimes you gotta be really loose, relaxed, and use your body, but in the arm, don't muscle it so much. There, it's going. It's getting there. So, the reason I like that one is because you do kind of fast and change the spin a bit, but you can also do a pretty good underspin, side spin on that one that at least makes them have to play up, right? If they try and attack that real aggressive, it'll probably go in the net. So, it's not crazy spinny, but if you serve like your top spin like that, you have to be careful because they might just bump it here, but at least then you know, just kind of cover with a short stroke. And that's kind of one of the things too I can work on with the short strokes, because if you serve underspin, they give you a long push. It's easy to play like a real big stroke. Then the follow-up shot needs to be compact, or if you serve kind of top spin or dead and they attack it with spin, have to be quick and compact. Otherwise, we make a lot of misses with a real big stroke trying to counter. So, working on all these little details, like I say, always ask what you're in the mood for to see. I can do it today or another day, most likely. And if I can't do it, then we'll practice it, I guess. I'm here and I'm automatically waiting here playing the shot, and they're going to play with my backhand, so that's what I'm working on. So I'm going to make this a little faster. I was a little too slow on the ball frequency. And my goal is, yeah, after this, I have to recover better. I'm just gonna play backhand for 2 and 3. Alright, that's good because what is it? This makes me play my forehand transition, then I get to play one backhand and move over here. So I'm playing the backhand and then moving on playing another backhand, which is tough. So you can see I fell apart there. I was thinking too much about my wrist, have to keep that down. But I was saying how useful it is. Play this one and then be forced to play my backhand after because I'm always stuck out of yours. It's good, it'll work out. Okay, but it's good too also because I'm working on this where ball comes here, you can't be forehand and then having to move all the way over here to play your backhand. The backhand should be in front of you and a little more like this as opposed to like this, so it's good. So, that's good. I'm going to take a small break while I'm keep doing that. I've been watching videos from different YouTubers and stuff of how they use the robot at different stages of their progression. And it's promising because some good players used it not only at like the beginning stages or even intermediate, but also the advanced stages. So, I think you can do a lot with it as long as you know what you need to work on. Work on with the robot, but then you kind of have to put it into practice with people too. Unless you're just doing like fitness stuff, then you could more or less just play with the robot again. But it gets a little bit boring. Well, routine or whatever. That's why I'm kind of doing the stream. One, keep myself accountable a little bit, but obviously I have to keep myself accountable without the stream. Provide a little bit of like info for people that want to practice with a robot. Or even if you're just thinking about buying a robot and you say, okay, what does the Amicus Prime look like? What does it do? Here it is. But so far I've just been doing topspin balls. And really basic robots can do that for the most part. You might not have as much control over the placement or oscillation, but you can still do that. Even with one ball, I always say, just one ball here, you can block it, you can kind of drive it, and you can back up and spin it a little more, or spin it from the bounce even. And same, if you can move it to the backhand, you do it. Same thing, bounce there, and you can even pivot, play your forehand, you go 1, 1, right, or 2 and 2. Things like that. A robot's a good tool for giving you the ball you need over and over. And then the return board is more, you have to be able to control the ball you're giving. So I'll do some return board practice on here some days. I've done a few little short videos, but all those were kind of when I was just setting up here and there. But over time, you definitely can get good with a return board. And I believe for intermediate players, it's important to at least spend some time with the return board. I'm not going to say it's more important than the robot, but it's a different feeling. And I think if you get good against a return board, you start to play better against pips players or weird players a little more because you sit there and you control the spin you're putting out from your shots, and you start to read the ball a little better on how it comes off the board, which is kind of like the pips. Because if you play well against the pips against someone who's not like super crazy, you're kind of playing off the pips, and what you're giving it kind of comes back, and they're doing here and there and stuff, but you're in control a lot more, right? If someone's real wild with the chop blocks and the this and that, or like real good choppers and stuff, okay, that's different. But if someone's playing long pips over the table, you kind of serve your fast serves, either jam them up deep over there for the pips, or make them move all the way over here to cover with their pips, or play with their inverted, which might be trouble for them. So if your serves are good, you have a lot more opportunities against a lot of people. All right, so I'm gonna do a few more rounds of this, and we'll get back to it. Thanks for being here, one viewer, appreciate it. So I'm gonna stick to the same thing I'm doing, right? You'll see sometimes I play the forehand in the middle. It's not this a bad shot in general, but I train that shot a lot. I want to kind of break this habit of automatically doing it when it's not the right shot. And same, I really need to get better at this transition from playing out here forehand to then covering the backhand. That's like really important for me because I do a lot of forehands or opens down the line, and then this ball comes here. So sure, you play this one here, it might come even wider in a game, so you just do 1-1. But like I said, I like this one because it's here, then it's a quick transition, like in your own place, and you can't, because sometimes we go like this, and then we're kind of playing here, whereas this one is here, here, and then I have to move out here a good step, which kind of simulates someone if I was to do like a flick from here, or a topspin from here, and have to play out wide, right? Say you kind of serve when you're served, you get a short ball, and then you flick, and then they get back up here, okay, and I'm really trying to get better at that. I have a tendency, I do that. Like I said, I kind of play a flat ball here, which works. So like win the point with a fast flat shot if you're not there. But my consistency isn't great enough because if you're punching, you're kind of vulnerable as far as what spin comes to you if you have inverted rubber. So even when I'm punching, I still want to have like a little bit of arc in my shot, and that'll give me just a little bit clearance over that little spin. And then if the ball's high, sure, you can punch. You can even punch down or fade it this way and make it real aggressive. So that's another point is I'm working so much on this, but also some days I just have to say, hey, I'm pretty good down here with the change, so you just embrace it. You make the change nastier, faster, flatter, spinnier, whatever. Whatever gives your opponent trouble at that time, right? Because I do some of these kind of fade blocks from here, but I'm rarely out here with the racket because I'm kind of back here. So little by little, I'm gonna do some chop blocks too, get used to that because I like it. I think it makes you better at serve return. But also for me, if I can get a good chop block in and either scare them into pushing or touching it, then I can play some big forehands or backhands, and I like that. Change of rhythm against the underspin. I'm good against that. It's kind of what I'm working on here with the topspin, continuous topspin, 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 smooth, without loading up too much and making a mistake. That's more of an issue for me. So working on both things, but sometimes work on your weaknesses, other times work on your strengths. Enough for me. I'm just gonna play that one. So I'm going to try, those are good. A little spinnier, a little less hitting, a little more borrowing the speed of the ball and playing forward over the top. But still kind of launching it, flinging it forward, but with spin. And I'm going to play my forehand there because then I have to open up here and then play that. Too many misses, right? But I got that ball at the end, that's good. Too many misses. I'm going to try to make all the balls this time. Play a little easier, borrow more spin, but not hit so hard and don't miss. Let's see. It was okay, it wasn't good, but one go. Let's do a better job. So like I was saying here, my goal is not to go here and then here. My goal is kind of here and get around it, but get myself around it more, right? Not the racket, myself. So something interesting I did there, I don't know if you saw it. I was here, and then here for the backhands, right? I used my other arm to actually switch my hand. If you watch some players that are always like this, other players like this, I've noticed with Canuck Jaw, it's kind of interesting. He does like a straight arm one, right? But there, that works. So I'm kind of here. But then when I go to the backhand, twisting this, kind of was a cue to twist my arm. Because like I said, I have a good lifting backspin for punching, right, with like more open rackets, but I struggle with the topspin and kind of playing aggressively, it just goes out. Hitting a little too hard, coming from a little down too low, a little too much movement here and not over the top enough. So Little by little you get smoother, but that was a good cue, right? Okay, so I'm here, and then as soon as it comes here, and I talked about before, like, this is not just for like the body movement and stuff, but you could even use it like you're lining up the ball, right? If the ball's at your fingertips, you kind of get an extra measuring stick, let's say, to where the ball is relative to your body and the racket. You know when to start your swing. So it all adds up. Same with, you play low, and you can kind of see the ball here. All right, if you're up here, you're kind of looking at it from a different angle. Same with controlling spin, right? You kind of, if you're playing tall, then you really have to close it a lot of times. But if you're kind of down here, now you're over top, it's not quite the same feeling. You gotta find what right for you, right for your body. Right? A lot of adults and stuff, the mobility's not gonna be there to play super low, so you have to adjust to it. Same with if you're a kid or a shorter player, it's not gonna be easy for you to be all the way over the top of the ball, but you'll have a good line of sight, and maybe you'll find a different way, right? Maybe instead of playing real forward fold, you kind of play sat a little bit, but nice low here with the core tight so you can move. And if you're taller, you're probably gonna have to fold forward a little more if you want to play nice aggressive topspins over the top. But it all depends on your style, angle. So I'm kind of stepping in like this. You need to step in more aggressively. That's why it's good to practice the serves consistently and kind of think about the little things. But ideally, you kind of throw it up, and you kind of wait, you know, until it's here to make your move, whether it's going to be long or short, so that they have less time to react. So you kind of want to be able to get here and play fast, or play shorter, right? That was too bouncy and a little long, but still the same idea. Lin Monroe's good at it. A few other pros are, of course, good at it. But you kind of sit here, and it could be right long, like this. And then if someone doesn't know if it's going to bounce here twice, or here twice, or real long, it keeps them hesitating for just a bit. Got it. I like that serve for hitting stuff, like I said. For some reason, for me, this one I can aim pretty well, whereas this one I have trouble. It kind of sometimes opens up too much, goes there or that. But my fix for that is just kind of aiming to the middle more when I do this one, and then this one I can kind of play a little more aggressively where I want to. Same with the backhand serve, like I say. If I want to hit a ball on the table or a target, I'm pretty good with the long backhand serve. Assuming I hit the ball, like you saw earlier, I missed it a few times. Practice makes perfect. Let me pick up some balls, and we'll keep doing it. Maybe I'll do the Falkenberg now, a little different drill. So yeah, 2 viewers here. What's up? Thanks for being here. Feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're interested in seeing. If you're doing anything fun this Saturday besides watching me, it's okay. You're just hanging out watching me. If you're going to watch the Super Bowl, let me know who you're rooting for, what you think, any predictions. I'll be honest, I don't think I've watched a whole football game all season. I've done some Bucks games, of course, but not like the whole game, just here and there, or keep up the score. We're usually practicing when the football games are going. That's my excuse. Not that you need an excuse to not watch football. Maybe you forgot to watch it because you played too much football, got hit in the head a lot. That's not a good excuse, though. But it's a reasonable excuse. All right. So yeah, I think it's the Seahawks and the Patriots. Tampa Tom Brady's not there, but I'm guessing he'll be commentating, right? They gotta get their money's worth. All right, let's do a few serves to get back to the robot. So I like this rhythm. You do some robot, you do some serves. Sometimes with the serves, fine, just do a bunch of them. You know, the same serve over and over, or variation, but a lot of times you do have to get ready, you know, and be ready like you're gonna play the next shot. It's important. All right. So my goal, let's say, like I said, my goal is when I serve long now, I need to not automatically get loaded up like I'm gonna play a forehand, because what happens? Okay, I'm here, but if they play here, I'm in trouble, because then I end up having to play one of these kind of weak. Whereas if I was balanced, I'd be able to play a strong one. And the same, if I'm loaded up here and they get a good fast one down the line, I'm forced basically to play from this position like this, and then I'm off balance on the next shot. So it's kind of like all or nothing there. But if you serve here or here and get ready with both legs, say it goes over there, now either I can get in a position and play it, or I could really play aggressively if it sits up a bit. Or you could, you know, if it is really wide, then you do it. You've increased your thing. And then same, if you're balanced here and then you see it's over here, instead of just reaching like this, okay, now you can get out of here, use some strength from the left side kind of forward, not necessarily left to right so much, but depends, right? If you're kind of right foot forward, then you could definitely transfer into it a little more and then be ready, because if you play this, you need to be ready for a fastball back. That's why I was saying that, like, trying to be careful playing these down the line balls from here, especially if I commit with my right leg forward, because now this is open. But if you do play a good shot here, and you get a weakish one here, and cut off the angle, now you can play a strong shot down the line, maybe if they're stuck over there, or if they're in the middle, it's like a really wide angle and they're not ready for it a lot of times. So. Like that. My goal is right now kind of change some of my patterns, right? So if I served and played forehand third balls for so long, automatically now I'm trying to go the other way a little more. More or less, I'm telling myself in my head, okay, be ready to play a strong backhand, and then if it comes to the forehand with a good ball, I'll do it. All right? Same with in the rally. We're here, okay, just be comfortable playing backhand, move them in the middle, move them out wide, right? But don't be in a rush to punch here, or even if I'm not in control, don't be so late that I only can punch or push it there. And don't be in a hurry to just play one backhand, kind of watch where they're playing like this, because if they play here, you're in trouble, they play there, you're in trouble. But if you're here, and then they give you the ball you want, now all of a sudden, okay, you're going to get to play it the way you want. That's the win. Right, so I like this one because that same serve, it can be a little stronger underspin, right? It can be a little stronger topspin. I missed too much, right? And then it could be a little more just side spin, dead, or dead even, right? But not necessarily. It could have side spin, could have not, right? But then, if some are heavy, they either start putting it out, they play too aggressively, or they have to push the long ball, which is a good attacking option, or they have to lift, and then you might be able to counter them or block them somewhere as they expend energy. The topspin one, you have to be really, I would say, if you serve this one fast, topspin, okay, you can't just sit over here, because if they just bump the ball, it's going to go here. But the good part is, if they do just bump the ball, okay, just cover it and play them over. And then same, if you serve the dead ball, they have to choose, so you don't know exactly what they're going to choose, but either choice is not that good for them. It's hard to push the dead ball real strong, and it's hard to lift the dead ball real strong. And if they pivot, same idea, right? They'll be able to get some topspin on it maybe, or some speed on it. But if they play too aggressively, too low, it's going to go in the net. If they lift too much, it's going to go out. So if you have those kind of three different spins with that same placement, then imagine sometimes you're placing wide backhand right to the elbow and then catching them off guard over here. And for the fast one down the line, if they're way over there, then you can play the fast one, the topspin that's going to jump. They might not even touch it, right? But if they're not going to, if you think they're still going to touch it and they're going to swing at it hard, then you have to be careful with that one. Maybe you give them a dead ball or the underspin ball where they have to at least lift it. Because maybe you say, oh, they're going to get to it, but they're going to play aggressive and they're going to miss it if they didn't read the spin correctly. And same, sometimes you serve long pendulum there, and you kind of do catch them off guard, but the natural angle of the forehand still kind of deals with your pendulum spin, and it's like just enough to give you an annoying ball here. So you have to see, if someone can do that, okay, be ready with your backhand, then to just kind of smooth play it out here. Or if you're going to pivot, okay, don't expect it kind of over here. Expect it to kind of deal with your spin, but then at least you can play real strong right back at them, to their elbow, or here. So, I mean, there's a reason that we want to set up forehand third balls, but you just can't be too predictable. Especially because then by game 5, a lot of times the opponent has figured out your serves and your setups, and you figure out theirs a little bit. And if you're too one-dimensional, then they know, like I say, either they're going to try to put it really far out here, or kind of really annoying here, or really fast here, let's say. And those three placements might work for them, you know. And they're not worried if they pop it up a little bit if they're way over here, because if you're set up over here, now you're having a lunge over here, and they're just going to be ready to kind of block over there. And same, if you serve real here, and you get so set up to play a real aggressive forehand, and they just have to give you the ball over here, it happens to me a lot, then your racket has to come all the way through here, and that's hard too. But then again, little by little, you know, what happens? Okay, they start to play this weak ball over here because they think you're always going to do this, then you're kind of sat here, and just punch it right down the line, or spin it right down the line. Okay, fine. Same with, you serve this one, and they think they're going to get out here, but you're kind of more balanced, and now you're just playing a strong forehand right down the line. Also, why the side spin's important, like I said. So you're serving heavy side spin, and they start dealing with it, okay, putting out there. But then you serve one that looks the same, but there's no side spin. Now they've played the ball off the table. You just have to adjust yourself a little more. If you put less side spin this way, they have more control over where it goes, but if you trick them, they're going to miss it. Same with here, right? You serve here, right side spin, they start missing that way, but then they start adjusting here. Okay, but then you don't do the right side spin, and then you just get a weak ball here. Then you know where it's going to go because you know where they're aiming, or it might even just miss the table. And same with the underspin top spin, or underspin no spin, right? So you're serving heavy, not like that. Like this. It's a good one. That was a good double bounce towards the end. Pretty good spin, right? Let's say they're getting used to aggressively pushing. And you got a few good opens in, but now they're really saying, hey, if he's going to open, I'm going to give him this really crazy push or this or that. Okay. Well, then you kind of serve the same one, but not so heavy. And unless they're going to start flicking it or attacking it, now they're going to push. It's either going to pop up or it's going to go long. But then same idea. You can't just serve underspin, expect them to give it here for this because they might go there with their push, might go here. So you got to go. Got to be ready for either thing, right? I might want to spin backhand, spin there. All right. Let's do the Falkenberg a bit. I decided I wasn't working hard enough. Let's get the Falkenberg in there. So right now it's on 60 balls per minute. Let's see what that looks like. I got to change where it's putting. It's putting that one ball too much into the corner for me to play with my kind of TV setup here. So give me a second. I got to move that over one. Yeah. That should be fine. Let's see. So you saw I got stuck back here and I had to play the different one. That's okay, you practice enough. It works out. We're going to crank up the tempo to 70 again. So, like I said, right now I'm using 70 balls per minute on most of the exercises. I'll probably move up to like 80 at some point. Faster than that, unless you're doing real specific, kind of like reaction training, fast pace over the table, it kind of starts to get unrealistic. But that's not bad to like overtrain yourself. They do that for the pros sometimes. With the robots, you'll see them trying to balls here, balls there. But right now, 70 frequency is pretty good, I think. So yeah, a few notes real quick before I start back. I wrote, let's see, compact backhand, work on chop blocks, pushes and blocks together. So I haven't really done much blocks yet, but we could do it. Crank up. The machine has to work really hard sometimes for like the heavy spin. I don't like to do it. And it's like my buddy over there. Some forehand transitions, but mostly work on the backhand, relaxed wrist, around the ball, right? So like I said, I'm not generating power like just with the wrist, although I will do that sometimes for various reasons. But it's mostly, if you play one shot and now your wrist is up, now when you play the next one, it's a totally different shot. Same with the transition, and this happens to me a lot too, where I kind of play one here, and then my wrist is here, the ball kind of sneaks by me here. So my goal is relax the wrist a bit and get around it a little more. Here, here. So let's say I go here. Not, I mean, this is exaggerated, right? But something like this. And that helps grab the ball in more, like I said. Then you aren't dealing quite as much with the direct topspin or underspin because you're on the side of the ball. But it just kind of lets you grab it, and also it helps play this diagonal ball faster and more extreme, which is important to me. Because if you play a real good one here, then you got space and you can pivot, and I like that one strong down the line. That's a good combo. It's just I don't want it to be predictable, or I don't want it to be so easy to cause me problems, right? If I go like this, and then they give me this ball, it's a problem, and I've created it myself, and I don't like that. Don't create your own problems, right? Yeah, and then for serves, working on my reverse pendulum topspin. Working on these ones because it's tough. You know, a lot of good players can do that one way. The side spin, top spin, short and tight here, and that's a tough ball to return. But if you're not good at doing it, it's actually an easy ball to kind of kill with forehand flicks. So I have to get better at that. Then same idea. So I can do that one, and maybe they start cheating over, and then you give them a long, fast one right to the middle. All right, so that's what I had on that little post-it note. The tomahawk serve, like I was talking, so I was noticing with certain players today, especially. If they serve real tight, real heavy on this, that's too long. It's okay. It wasn't quite spinning up. But either way, like, the person's forced to play against this spinny ball in the middle, right? And if it's real heavy, side underspin, they kind of have to push it a lot, or they're going to make a lot of mistakes. If it's topspin, you have to be careful because they can just attack it. But they might also still make mistakes. But either way, I think this one, when it's real short in the middle, it's good to have the side underspin because it's hard to touch it really well. And if you play an aggressive shot, you at least get a long ball to spin heavy, let's say. And then same idea, right? If I serve the tomahawk from here, kind of fast down there, this ball is naturally going to kind of come here off the backhand. And then if I serve this one more over there, it's naturally going to kind of come a little more here, unless they really open their angles. But then you'll kind of see that, and you can either kind of have a little more time to play around here or play your forehand from there. And then same with the backhand top spin. I've been serving it from over here to open more forehand, but I'm not going to serve it from so extreme over here anymore. I'm going to serve a little more from the middle, because then that opens up a little more of an extreme angle on the forehand. And also I can kind of play here, but I can cover these balls with my forehand really well. And I like that when it kind of like this. That would have been good. And just play it down the line. That's kind of a nice combo. And then same. From here, I still can serve fast over there, but you wouldn't want to do it right into their forehand like that. But mainly kind of short. So I got to practice the backhand serve more. So we'll do that. I'll move the camera around some days for it too. Yeah, that's okay. But it's the same idea, right? You don't want them to know whether you're going to go short, kind of here, spinning, or long over there, or to the middle until the last second, ideally. So you kind of got to figure out what type of motion can you use so they don't know. And same thing, the long one doesn't have to, if you're missing the long one like that, you have to take a little bit off to be a little looser, play a little more forward. Right there, that's good. But then kind of too high. So if you're going to do that one over here, you have to make sure it kind of bounces here and goes here, so the table's in the way. Table's in the way. If it kind of goes here and curves out, the table's not in the way, and they can either crank it like this or play down the line. And if it goes here and it comes off too much, the table's also not in the way, and they can play a full shot. So in this one, at least, if it's a right-hander, you kind of want it to come at them and then curve away, so they have to chase it, but then you want the table in the way, especially if it's like side underspin but kind of long. They're either going to have to push it or somehow play it real aggressive with the table to get it through. If it's top spin, they're going to cover it, but then maybe you're ready for it. So let me know if you want to see any particular serves. I think that's kind of a good area where I can explain some things while we're here, as opposed to in the club. It's kind of loud. Can't work on the serve over and over in different, can't just explain things, but I have to work. Serves are probably the most important thing for me to do at home. The robot's good for certain things, but really, you need like a few solid years of just a consistent serve practice, and after that, even more time, right? It always adds up. At every level you get to, your serves might help get you there, but then they're not enough for the next level, and you have to push forward. And if you watch the big tournaments, like two players at the same level, they're getting into rallies, this and that, but two players a little different level, all of a sudden the stronger player's just serving and attacking, finishing the point. They're receiving, they're winning the point, or they're receiving and then finishing the point next shot, right? The rallies stop, or unless they're so comfortable that they like to rally things. But either way, serve and return is kind of how you can tell people's levels as they move up. So the better your serves get, doesn't mean you have to have a ton of serves, although it is nice to have more variation here and there for various reasons. Maybe you just like having more serves, like I said, or for coaching purposes, you kind of need to be able to demonstrate different serves. But if you're just kind of playing, wanting to get real aggressive with certain serves, then you don't need a ton, just make them really good as long as they set up your game. And then receives just takes time, more matches, more tournaments, more practice, specifically on receives. But the better your technique is in general, the better that'll improve, right? So you want to have options, but you don't want to be overly confused with certain options. So sometimes just say, I'm going to push long if I get an underspin ball for the most part on the backhand, let's say, right? So if you're kind of developing your game, pushing with your backhand a little more and opening with your forehand against the underspin, right? Don't get caught pushing too many long balls on the forehand. But if someone's really good pushing and you're missing your backhand open a lot, okay, sometimes in a match, you're going to have to suck it up and just start pushing and setting yourself up, right? Because maybe you're saying, okay, I'm not going to, but that doesn't mean I have to sit here and just push diagonal with my backhand all day because, well, I push backhand over there, someone has a good backhand push, they just keep sticking me here or here. No, maybe one and then two down here. When I play that ball, good luck forcing me to play another push after that one, right? Because even if you push it straight here, now I'm here. If you push this one over here, and now maybe they open that one with their forehand, okay, then you'll figure something else out or push to their elbow. But if you just kind of sit here like this, with this strategy of not opening switch backhand, then you are going to get stuck in a pushing rally. Well, why would you want to have that? And then you can maybe, okay, play an empty push and then get your chance to hit, or this, or take your chances, right? If you're missing a lot of your backhand open, maybe don't aim too far this way or this way. Just aim to the middle of the table, and not just like in terms of this, but just like right here. Same with your serve return, right? If you can't figure things out, just start aiming in the middle of the table to figure things out, right? But yeah, so you're here. Same with if you're serving, right? Okay, this is a good example. We're talking about this top or side spin, underspin serve, right? Like there, good. But that ball, maybe someone starts figuring out, okay, they just have to push it to your backhand or middle, and now they've dealt with your spin on the serve properly because they opened their angle, they pushed it, and now you're in this rally. And if you're not able to get out of it, now you just create a situation that doesn't help you. Today, Simone Gauzy and Alexis Lebrun were in a close part. And at deuce in one of the games, Simone kept serving a serve that kept getting pushed short on the return by Alexis, and he had to play short, and then Alexis would get in with the first attack. And it was like, well, how could you let that happen multiple times in a row at these crucial junctures? You know, like, okay, if it's not working once or twice, and you still survived, don't let them have a serve that they can keep short and keep you from attacking. Just serve something long and get ready to attack, or serve something kind of really empty somewhere, so that if they do attack, you got a good chance to counter it, and they can't play such an aggressive spin shot at least, right? But serving real heavy pendulum short like this or something, that wasn't short enough, but if they can kind of chop that and give you your own nasty spinny ball that you can't attack or don't feel comfortable with, that's no good. Same with this one, right? Like, this serve really, you get a lot of points off this serve if someone's not returning it well, especially side spin, top spin. But once they adjust to it, the ball that comes back over the table is not that easy to attack, and it's easy to lose your confidence. You serve this one real spinny, and they just start touching the ball back because they've missed so many returns. Okay, they're just giving it back to you now, over the table. But now this ball's this way, mostly like this. But it could be real underspin or a little topspin depending on how they touched it. And you're having to swing over the table. It's not so easy, right? So maybe, then at the end of the match, okay, if they've started just touching this serve, okay, fine, then just serve a flatter one, right? Then they kind of do a weird touch, it sits up or goes long, and then you're hitting it, and you're hitting a ball that's not so spinny. Or you serve the dead one, it double bounces, and they have to play over the table versus the dead ball, and at most levels it's going to be tough. So you got to figure out like what's working and what's not working. I always say, hopefully no one's watching that, I got to deal with it, but no. Sometimes you can serve these ones, and people can't deal with the spinny balls, right? Okay, fine, then do it. But someone is good to touching those and giving you these weird balls to the table. Don't use this. Use kind of your normal grip. Just a stronger serve that looks similar, but they're not going to be able to just like do the little touches anymore. The ball's going to fly somewhere, and then we're going to smack it, and we don't even have to change grip anymore because we're using it. So let me finish this bucket. We'll go back to Falkenberg for a bit. Take the trip to Sweden. So something I'm working on a lot more lately. You still see it. Sometimes I'm kind of stepping this way and going this way. Really, I need to start pointing my toes where I'm playing, and that'll take time because you need like hip mobility for it. But I was running like. Except for deception, if you're kind of stepping this way but trying to play this way, it's not going to be as strong. So kind of here. Yeah. So even though that serve is kind of, if someone's ready for it, they're going to attack it well with your forehand, but you have to be able to serve fast here, and not just to the corner, but also to the outside of the corner, right? So maybe you kind of hit it here, something like this. Those are all still within the thing, and the further you stand here, the less angle you have on out here. If you stand in a little more, now you've opened up a little bit of an angle here. And I've actually surprised myself sometimes with kind of the short angled serve from here, what you can do out there, because I think if someone's got to cover a serve that goes out here, and a serve that goes over there, which I have to practice more right now, whatever. If the ball can go here, here, and fast at them, that's a lot to cover for anyone, really. Anyway, that was a good one. I work out too, like, kind of spinning or swinging into yourself for this one. So a lot of acceleration here, not way out here, kind of keeping it tucked. And that was nice because if you get a lot of acceleration here and you don't really telegraph if it's going to go kind of long. Like I said, I have trouble serving real fast, real extreme out there. That's why I use this one when I want to go there more. But just got to practice. Better. What happens is I kind of come at it from here, from the side too much, when I need to come a little more like this. So let's see. Adjust this a little more. Better. And same, now I'm trying to power too much in here when it just needs a little body, a little wrist, a little flick. That's good. You can hear when they're good ones, they kind of sit there and spin for a bit. All right, let's go back to the Falkenberg. Play two backhands there. Maybe we'll do that for now. Stick with our plan. So I'm going to try what I was talking about. I'm going to do two backhands, one forehand. For the backhands, my other arm's going to be like this, and for this I'm going to be like this. And that'll help me kind of like that, in theory. It's almost like a counteracting force as well, right? So if you have this, you're kind of pushing off it. Whereas if you don't have this, now you're pushing off, falling back like this. Here. So I got lazy on my side-to-side movement because I was focusing too much on that, but I have to get around this ball better. So that's the goal. That's my way. It's not an excuse. This is a situation where if I were to turn up the speed on these two, or the spin I mean, it'd be easier to just cover it. But it's kind of a middle top spin ball. I can't just cover it because it goes in there, and I can't lift it too much because it goes out. So I have to generate, I have to open a little more. I have to feel the ball a little more. Good when you know what you need to work on, but you don't want to drive yourself crazy with that. Sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do. A little more. Sometimes I'm coming in a little too much like this, and then I'm having to retreat. But the goal is just, if I get over here, I don't want to fall back with this hip. I need to get at least square, or ideally a little more around it again. Like I said, it's important not to get here and play up and like this. Better to get here, right? So, it's a good drill. We'll see how long until I get tired. So, sometimes over here I'm getting too much like this, too pushy, and also kind of laying too flat like this. I need to be a little more like this, so you have some strength to work with. Little by little, like I said, you can't sit here and go, oh man, today I'm gonna go 10 hours on the robot. Then tomorrow you're not gonna play at all. I can assure you. I have to build up. It's like exercise, you know, like a workout. Aggressive overload. But if you manage your intensity while you do it, then you could train a little more, of course, as you build up over time. And then you can kind of section it off, different drills, like I said. For now, I'm mostly working on these basic rallying skills, footwork, being compact, things like that. But I will start to introduce more to test different things like that. Some stronger balls, more spin, more speed, more extreme placement, let's say. But that's not my goal right now. So yeah, if you're watching, let me know what your table tennis practice is like, your goals. You know, like I said, sometimes it's easy to get discouraged making the same mistakes over time, not seeing the progress you're hoping for, whether that's your shots or your results. But, you know, one, we're practicing the game with kind of relatively low stakes unless you're a pro. I don't know why you'd be watching this, but I appreciate it if you are. Yeah. So you have to set goals, but be reasonable with yourself. And it's good to have things to work on, right? But don't take it as like a bad thing if it takes longer than you expect, or some things are more difficult. Some things will work better than you expect, and some things you don't know what you need, I guess. Maybe, at least I don't. Let's get in. So my first bounce is too far away from the end line on those when I serve long, so let's try and work on that. But I mean, if I'm playing a long serve, but it's bouncing there, it goes long a lot. But you want it to kind of be here. The closer to the white line, the better. So that was good. My bounce was like here, maybe. Way to land on the end line. It's better too. Like nowadays, it used to always be serving short, you kind of bounce it here. Serving long, you bounce it here. But now people are kind of serving half long with their first bounce goes to the baseline, which is good. So the ball starts a little higher, but it kind of just dips over the net in a different way, right? So if you serve short from here, the idea is like kind of this distance, this distance, this distance. But now, serving half long, but an earlier bounce or a bounce close to the white line, it's more like here. Just getting over and being a little more extreme on that, right? So in theory, the reason, like just how a long serve bounces here, stays as low as possible, and then bounces as deep as possible. The idea before was if you serve a short serve, you're kind of getting your first bounce real close, so that it barely goes over the net, and then it just goes like this. But now it's more like, you can get it kind of here, it kind of comes here, and they have less time to know where or if it's going long or short because of that first bounce. And then once it gets here, you just need that second bounce to come down pretty quick, which you can accomplish by serving low. And with good spin on it, they kind of pulls it in one direction or another. Right, so that's the other thing too. Some people talk about like how long in between the first bounce and the second bounce, because that's like the time that someone has to hit your ball, right? So from here to here is the time they can hit. Once it bounces twice, they can't hit it anymore. So if you have some serves that go real quick, boom, boom, somehow, like a topspin ball is going to bounce pretty quick, real low ball, things like that. You know, you try and shorten that time, and then also make it a little more difficult, right? Like if the first bounce is here, and it's jumping all the way over here, that's pretty tough because now they're kind of trying to line up a ball over the table within this distance, right? Or same if it's here and here. So there's different ways. Same idea too, I always talk about this, okay. So you're developing your game, but your serves aren't really that good at control and your opens aren't really consistent yet. If you're serving long, underspin ball like this, even if your opponent's pushing it back, but when they push, it's real fast, and it's like a fast push, it's a hard ball to like redirect, and you have to kind of power through it or spin real heavy, but as soon as you start doing that as a beginner or intermediate, you make mistakes, as opposed to kind of the half long, that was a little short, of course, because that's the net, but the half long underspin ball, right, the push off that is going to be slower. You know, okay, maybe they can use their misdirection a little bit at a higher level player, but I'm just talking about like players at the same level developing their games, right? The push, the ball's moving slower towards them, and they're not going to have as much speed to borrow against you, right? But if you serve long fast, and they push it from back there, it's almost like a hard chop. That ball is not so easy to open until you get good at it, and then that's a good ball, right? You want them to chop the long ball so you can attack it with power or heavy spin. But until you got that down, serve a little more, kind of control a little slower, and then this ball's going to go, okay, they might play more angle here, but to push the ball from here, they got to extend, they got to get the ball up and over the net, but also still back down the other side, so can't play quite as linear of a trajectory. But if you serve long here, probably going to be a little higher right there, right? Good example, right? You serve there long like this. Let's see how many row I can put in it, like that. They're chopping almost down at it. And that ball's not easy to lift or power through until you're really strong. All right. but I didn't knock it off. All right, so like I said, whenever there's balls on the table and you have some balls around, you can practice kind of your placement. So left ball. And sometimes, like especially in the beginning, you can kind of just take the spin and speed off your serve and try and hit the ball, the target. But also the spin and speed might give you more guidance on your ball. So a little spin kind of gives your ball a little more trajectory to control, right? I'm kind of leaning back too far. I need to be here. And okay, I'm missing the ball, but all my serves are kind of going right in that same spot. So that means kind of good precision. Not accurate, but precise. All right, that's good. Try to get this other one. Not that one. Out. Didn't get it. Same idea, like I'm saying. So if you got to sit back casually, target practice, that's fine sometimes, but also do your normal serve, right? Because you want to practice your good serve. Missing one. Let's see. I got like 10 more balls left. Let's see if I can at least hit the one on the towel. And it kind of gives you feedback in real time, right? You say, oh, that one went a little bit to the left. Oh, that one went a little bit high. That one curved more. That one curved less. So you kind of got to control what you're doing. That one hit the top of the net. Okay. That one was close. All right. Now you got to focus, right? Then you start running out of balls, and the pressure starts mounting. You say, man, I don't have as many balls anymore to aim. I can't miss as much, so I got to do a better job each time. Okay. Okay. Those are all close, right? So now you do it one ball at a time. Because you need to really hope you're going to hit it. Sometimes you would get a redo on that if it came back to you directly, but not. All right, 2 more left. Pressure's on. That's close. All right, 1 left. It's close. All right, so I missed it, right? I'm pretty, hurt, disappointed in myself. No, just kidding. But all those balls were close, right? So little by little, you'll start to knock it off the table more often, left tries. But if the grouping is small when you're aiming in there, okay, that's good. That's what you're trying to do, because that's what I'm saying. If you know someone cheats over here a lot, you need to be able to put it in the corner over there. Because otherwise, if it's not extreme, they'll just move back over and hit it. But if it's in that corner, now they're going to miss it, right? Same with to the elbow. Someone set up here, they have trouble with the elbow. Okay, you send a fast one, good one, jam them up. But if you send one that's just kind of middle of the table, bouncy, right here, it doesn't jam them up at all. I think this ball's going to survive, but I got 3 more shots. I'm going to change tactics. Okay, so we missed the ball. It survives. It's okay. Just like the robot's my friend, the ball's my friend too. I got a lot of friends here. All right. Let's do a little bit 2 and 2, like I said, because that's also a different movement. So a lot of times we do 1 and 1 or middle side, which we might do, but 2 and 2 is important because a lot of times we're hitting and we're automatically moving. Okay, but a lot of times you hit a good ball, it kind of comes back to the same spot because you did a good job. You made something predictable, right? So you got to hit and kind of reset and be ready for the ball, but don't automatically hit and then run to the other side because you still might have to cover this. Or also, a lot of times too, maybe our actual stroke leaves us off balance, which isn't punished if we have to play a backhand, but here, and then a quick block out wide to the forehand, then you are punished. So you got to see what you need to do. Let's see what we got going on. It's okay. Yeah, you don't want to get too planted in the middle and just reaching. No, you got to get out there. Then also, once you play your second one where you're in position, then you have to be ready to move again, right? So it's kind of forcing you. Sometimes we plant it, sometimes we move it. Right, so you've got one shot where you have to move while getting into position, You have another shot while you're in position, but you have to move after. Different skills. Also, if I was just playing in the middle or aimlessly, it'd be a little easier. I'm trying to aim a specific point. I got a little bit overzealous there and missed some shots, so I started chopping. Give me a second. I think we're reaching the limit today for the footwork. So yeah, like I say, it's important. Get in position, get set up, and play. And if I do a good job on this right leg, it starts to put a lot of pressure on that leg, so you have to get strong. You have to do a lot of reps, but you have to build up. And sometimes you're not going to be able to do it the proper way, right? Unless you're really well trained physically in table tennis skills and you're young, or yeah, just really resilient in various areas, right? Some people are gonna have really good knees and strong knees, but struggle with their shoulders maybe. Otherwise, it could be the other way around, or back, things like that. This game definitely will find your weak points, both physically, like I'm saying, your knees, your ankles, your wrist, your elbow, right? It's common, tennis elbow, but it's also table tennis elbow. But also mentally, right? If you get frustrated easily, it's tough because it's a long journey. And if you go to a tournament and you see some people, they're always getting frustrated, the same people, right? So I think in the beginning, maybe I get frustrated here and there, but really more of a brooding type. But then little by little, you kind of get over it and you realize, like, okay, you're at a table tennis tournament, you need to just chill out and enjoy the experience, get the practice in. But at the same time, when you aren't enjoying them, okay, take a break. That's what I'm doing right now. I just said it's not really worth my time driving, doing all this for tournaments when I can practice here at home and in my club, and I want to get an exercise routine, like I've said before. Table tennis is important, but at the end of the year, what I would really value, okay, consistent table tennis practice, especially my serves, but fitness, right? If I could be in a consistent routine from now to the end of the year, I'll be in a lot better shape by the end of the year, like, no doubt. So, table tennis stuff can carry over to other things, your mental improvements, right? Managing yourself, this and that, but fitness improvements not only help table tennis, but they help everywhere. And as you get older, it's very important, right? Like, it gets harder and harder, not only to build muscle, but to maintain muscle once you reach a certain age, things like that, right? So try and learn new skills, right? I learned to juggle recently. I mean, I couldn't really do it that well before, but now I can do it okay. This is the only one I know at the moment. I haven't learned the other tricks, or same with the Rubik's Cube. Try and teach yourself new things. Do what you enjoy, right? So like I say, sometimes you gotta sit here, you say, man, I'm really bad at this, so you're gonna work on that thing. But other times you can't think like that, you gotta say, oh, I'm really good at this though, so how do I set up that shot? And how do I avoid them picking on my weakness and make them deal with my strength? For me, a long time it was always forehand, so it's like, man, they're killing me over here. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna play my forehands even more, right? And then if they're getting too lazy playing to the backhand corner with weak balls, just sticking me to the backhand because I'm pivoting weakly, not committing. Okay, now just really committing and just going for it, right? Same idea too, though. If the serve becomes weak, it'll be fine. Sit here and just start punching it or defending it. Figure out what you got to do. Same with the serves. Maybe you're practicing your short serves long. You're like, I want to be a good player. I want to develop my short serves, and you're there, but they're returning your short serves no problem because there's not enough spin on them and they're not tight enough here or there or varied. Okay, then just start serving long, right? Or the other way around too. You're serving long and someone's faster than you, right? Maybe their reflexes are just really good. They hit hard. Okay, stop that, right? Either give them a long ball, but a heavier underspin one that they can't attack so strong, or just give them these dead balls over the table and they're going to overplay. Things like that. You have to have enough variation control in your serves to set up the opportunities you want. And you got to do what you like, right? So right now I'm trying to work on the backhand third balls, so I'm trying to serve serves that kind of force people maybe right to it. So there, that side spin, if they don't deal with it, I get my forehand. But a good player, a decent player in their mind, they say, no, I got to play this to the backhand. Okay, now I get to practice the shot I'm trying to practice, right? It's not like I'm sitting there telling them, like, give me a backhand third ball. But I'm kind of forcing it. Now, if I serve this one and they aren't giving me the backhand, they give me my forehand, I'll play my forehand. And then I'll go over here. If they're not dealing with side spin, okay, they're going to bring me this ball right here, and then I'm going to play my backhand. So you just got to figure out, are they dealing with the side spin by their good placement or their spin override? Or is whatever you're giving them is controlling what you get back? That's important. So yeah, over time we'll do more with the robot, test out different equipment. I have some different rackets to try out in the future. I didn't bring them out today, who cares? Because at the end of the day, stop changing your equipment. stick with something, right? Nothing's perfect, but find something. You can test things out every once in a while, try different rackets here and there, but when you buy new rubbers, okay, use them until they wear out, right? Use them for like 3 months at least. You get a new blade, try it out for a little while, but don't change your rubbers and blade at the same time. Pick something to change and then change it, but stick with it for a while and figure out what's different, what got it better, what got worse. But for example, playing hard rubbers like Dig Mix on 9C, they're demanding, but for me, I believe the areas where they're demanding, getting the ball to go in the sponge, playing consistent, not overhitting, it's important for me because I develop the power and arm speed to get it into the sponge, but also the consistency and control to not overplay or overhit here and there. All right, you can generate a lot of spin and speed with this setup, but you also can overplay, or if you play lazy, it's not so easy. So for now, it's good. Like I said, if you're playing hard sponge rubbers, slower stuff, you need to get strong. Or not slower stuff, but harder sponge rubber, you need to get stronger to get the ball in there. And depends on your style too, right? If you're a power player, you need to have power. If you're a finesse player and control player, then you need to be, very visual and be in position all the time. And whether that means staying close, or just reading the game better, or forcing your opponent to play into your game. Better serves, better placement on your shots, less options, all right? So, thank you everyone who's watching. I know there's 2 viewers here at the moment. I really appreciate it. Feel free to say things in the comments sometimes about things you want to see. I think that's enough for today, all right? So, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Everyone who's here, everyone who will ever be here in the future, click through it, subscribe, say hi. Yeah, and have a good rest of your day, all right? Thanks. Bye.